I mean, Cape Town generally is very elegant in its exclusivity, how it marginalizes certain groups of people by price. So there's no blatant or vulgar way of saying you're not welcome, but they essentially make you feel uncomfortable or unwelcome by just virtue of price points or architecture, or those things. People are rational. When this place is welcoming for your palate, for your price point, for all these things, and I don't think it has been.
Everyone has the right to be part of the city, so accessibility has to come through very strongly in terms of access to transport, access to affordable food, access to water infrastructure, access to energy. So, and in future cities, I think our focus now has to be more of access to sustainable services. So sustainable services that are affordable for all members of the city.
The food systems critique is now saying we should rather than look at this as a benign cultural export, we need to see this Western diet as actually the neoliberal diet. So it's the product of a very specific industrialized, profit-driven food system that is where you have these large multinationals coming into Africa with a very predatory intent of finding new markets and making new profits. And we have seen a rapid increase in the uptake of these foods, as well as the health fallout, where we're having high levels of obesity, but still hunger. Often
everybody loves to eat. And that would be a way of unifying the community and building community from all over Cape Town. They would all come because everybody likes to eat. And so we set about creating the Aranya's City Farm, and we got a lot of volunteers to assist, and it was absolutely fantastic. We started a market next door to the farm, and people started coming after a couple of months, and it was all going well because we were starting to make a little bit of money that we could generate and plow back into the farm.
Allowing members to save a little bit of their income on a daily basis and having access to that savings usually at the end of each month. Also, even our members during the period lost their income because they could not trade for a very lengthy period. And because they have bills to pay, some of them were ejected from their homes and have to relocate to other places. Some of them would have to relocate back to the villages where there are family members for support. So that brought a lot of psychological trauma to many people.
I think the main drive behind this is the fact that I'm a foreigner in South Africa. That's number one. Of course, I am privileged to be, can I say, fully documented. I can easily open a bank account in FNB, Standard Bank, wherever I want. I can easily walk into any bank and open an account. But if we go back and look at other women that we have, they are not so privileged because they are not documented. That means they are in here illegally. So it ended up that those type of people end up unable to save. That's how it eventually came to us. They have nowhere to put their money.
I think we come alongside communities and offer a service rather than imposing our way on a community, in a sense. So we are excited about how a township retailer works and how we can learn from that in order to adapt our offering to suit their needs.
The informal economy is the biggest employer, job creator in South Africa currently. If you look at a company, and let's make a company just for this conversation, Johnny's Finance, and there's 100 people working in Johnny's Finance, and the company closes due to a financial whatever. 100 people is unemployed. 80 of that 100 people at least will start to sell something, make something, or repair something in their house on the side as a informal trader. So,
I think most of us assume that we just need food security, and that's fine. No, it is not fine. The food system that we have now could still be improved to make sure that it does not destroy the planet. So nature conservation, which is why I'm with WWF, but also so that it feeds us forever, not just in the short term, but also it helps us to address the climate change issues, the health issues that come because of food and the way that we eat, as well as the other natural resource management.
Aimed at moving most people over the line to an alternative, to put it in a different way, for lack of a better term, we would rather say, because we don't believe it's an alternative, we believe it's the same thing. So yeah, just meat eaters. The average meat eater is who we're targeting.
To make a consumer pay more for something that they should be eating in the first place. The conventional way of farming, whereby we are using fertilizers to destroy the land, the health of the land or the soil, those products should be the ones that are expensive, you know, and it is unfair to have good quality food and then it's only eaten by the elite, it's only eaten by the middle class, and then poor communities in the townships are only scavenging on the leftovers of the middle class. It's really an unfair system, but we're hoping that in the near future things will be reversed, especially in the light of climate change and how we are embracing it. So when we prove that a particular product is costing the soil, is costing our health, is costing the environmental health, then those products actually should be taxed more or should be expensive, and those that are good quality food for our people should be the ones that are cheaper for us to source.
There's just not enough space, you know, globally to have sustainable farming practices. And look, we're not saying to people stop eating meat. We're just asking them to, you know, eat a little bit less meat, because that in itself, if everyone can go into a more flexitarian diet, that in itself will solve everything, all the problems that we are experiencing. So, and that's why we're trying to make products that replicates meat so much, because the taste of meat and that mouthfeel, people like it.
I think the Good Food Clubs sort of just take you on a small journey. Maybe you just start by ordering coconut oil from Mozambique because it's cheaper. And then you start to, once you start on the journey, then maybe you start to buy a whole lot of other things, and you start to really like a few farmers. And then you start to have a lot of loyalty. So I think it's just starting that process of connection that's really powerful.
And if you can have something that's convenient and delicious, then people will be open to it. I think I first started off from the ethics side of things, and I don't think that people make decisions because of moral like inclination. So, you know, if it's delicious, it kind of overrides a lot of things, because we're just so bombarded by all the things we need to care about and be concerned about, and the causes. And I mean, it was quite, I find, since I've also relaxed a little bit to be more flexi vegan, I'm also happier, because you can't just look at the ethics of like the animals, and you're thinking about the people, the planet, and it's a lot to be thinking about every time you sit down.
Let's make the reels cool about the farmer, because those people have hearts of gold, and they
choose to do what they do because of the love of the land, the soil, and our planet, but the recognition and the acknowledgement is so little. So they are in this very weird place where they're struggling because there's not a lot of people telling them well done or making them feel special. Now,
yeah, so people aren't willing to lose money to feed people. They'd rather lose food and make money.
Western thinking compartmentalizes so many things and then zooms in on that thing in isolation and hopes to find solutions for daily living by zooming in and focusing. Whereas with Ayurveda, we look at the whole system and heal the system rather than the individual parts.
We actively need to go and be involved within the African street markets. We need to go and find what's seasonal through what we can find on the streets. And this is definitely another challenge that we have to navigate. How do we get, great quality ingredients, great quality fresh produce, because most of the food that we prepare is really just as plants. How are we then able to source great quality ingredients in a way that is sustainable, but also in a way that is of easy access, and also in a way where the integrity of the ingredient is still also not lost. So